Hi there, James Madison High School students. This is your teacher, your English instructor, Suzanne Thompson, and we are starting a series of lessons on analysis. This is an area in which a lot of you are struggling with, and so I wanted to come to you with a few tips on how to get started with writing your analysis essays. It is also important that you realize that a literary analysis, has to do with literature. So the first step in being able to write a successful analysis, a successful literary analysis, is to be familiar with all the literary concepts. All the literary concepts, such as the literary devices you've learned throughout the lessons in this course. So, for example, you will need to know metaphor, you need to know about irony, you need to know what the elements of a story are, such as plot, setting, character, mood, tone. You need to know all of these things. So you want to start there. You want to familiarize yourself with literary elements, okay? This is going to help you a lot in being able to be successful with your analytical essays. Okay, so we're going to start there. In this video, I'm going to be presenting a few notes on, just some of the literary devices that you can use in your essays. I want to share with you how you can create a thesis statement that will help throughout your essay. This is where you have your focus written. This is where you're going to help your reader now to figure out, well, what is this entire essay about? Okay, again, we're not just providing a summary or a plot summary, but we are going deeper into the text. We are providing our criticism of the text. You're becoming more like a critique, okay? A critic, I should say, and you're giving a critique of this piece of writing, and you're now relating it to literature. So how does this piece of writing relate to literature? Okay, what does it show about a particular time period? What does it show about setting? Okay, setting has to do with time and place, right? So if you want to talk about the setting of the story, that's also okay. You can talk about the plot, but you do not want your entire essay to be about the plot. Understand? Okay, so we're going to talk about these things. And remember, if you do not understand something in this video, or in the future, if you don't understand something, remember my email address is sthompson@jmhs.com. That is sthompson@jmhs.com, and you can contact me there and I'll try to explain. I'll do my best to explain all of these things to you. My hope is that you'll be successful in this course. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so with this lesson, this first lesson, I want to start off with some tips that I feel that you will work well with. These are my tips. I didn't get these from other sources. Just some tips I feel, just based on grading your papers, that you need to learn to help you in the future with writing your analytical essays. So for the first lesson on analyzing literature, here are some tips and suggestions from me, your English instructor. Okay, so tip number 1, remember that an analysis is not a summary. So please avoid plot summaries. A summary merely tells us what the story is about. We want to know why the story is being told, not about what is being told. Okay, here's tip number 2. What is the big idea? Think about the themes or the lessons of the story. Ask yourself, what lesson or lessons is the author trying to teach the audience or the reader? So what is being taught by this story or by this poem, whatever you're analyzing? Your answer or answers to this question will take you very deep into the text, believe it or not. For example, what lessons can we learn from Dickens' story, Hard Times? The answer might be that I learned that back in the day, maybe the Victorian era, that's the setting of the story, children had very little rights. And this is something that was never stated in the story. This was implied, right? So this is where you'd be making an inference based on the student's reaction to their teacher, Mr. Gradgrind. Tip number 3. How does this work relate to literature? As I said before, for it to be a literary analysis, it must relate to literature. And in order to relate this piece of work to literature, you need to be aware of the literary elements. Literature has to have elements of literature, so talk about those. Always check for literary devices such as irony, metaphor, imagery, etc. Where can these be found in the story? What does the literary device show you about the characters, for example, or about the main point or lesson, or about the setting of the story, etc.? Why does the author use this device? And you should always give contextual evidence. This is so important. Provide evidence from the text. We love to see this in your essays. Tip number 4, we do advise that you use secondary sources, not copy them now. Do not copy them word for word. And if you do copy or quote here and there, be sure that you provide proper documentation using APA format. This is so important so that you avoid plagiarism. This is a big deal in an online institution or any institution for that matter. So if you're not sure if what you understand about the story is correct, you can do research about your topic. If you're going to write about themes in Dickens, for example, his story Hard Times, you could search the internet for literature on that topic, just to help to broaden your ideas, broaden your view on the subject. Again, just be sure to document your sources in your essay. Tip number 6, remember this is a discussion. In fact, argue your point. You're the critic, okay? You're developing an argument somewhat. You want your reader to understand what you understand. You alone right now understand what you understand, okay, from the text. You know what you understand from the text. Now it's up to you to make that clear to your reader. Your teacher, who's your reader, you need your teacher, myself, to understand what it is that you're trying to say. What did you understand from the text? So make your reader understand what you learned from your reading. So I don't just want to see that you learned that the story is about a man who taught some students. You need to go deeper than that, right? So talk about things like, how did the story make you feel? What did it make you think about life, culture, history, etc.? Okay, this is important. You are the critic. Critique the author's work. Make a case for why the story was boring or captivating, for example. And there's so many other things that you can write about. So those are the few tips that we're going to start off with. The next time I'm going to talk about, well, how you can start your introduction. We're really going to get into this. I really want you guys, again, to do well on these. Writing a literary analysis is something you're going to take with you even into a tertiary institution when you go to college. This is a basic fundamental skill that you will need to be successful in college. So please come again and join me in these lessons as I give you more tips for writing literary analysis. Thank you.